Welcome to Whiskey's a Journey. My name is Peter Faciano, and today is Monday. We're doing another whiskey review. This time, we're doing a peated Scotch, Blackadder Peat Reek Embers. It's an independent bottler, and like I mentioned, this is a peated offering coming in at 59.2% ABV. It doesn't have an age statement, it's non-chill filtered, and there is no added coloring. It's bottle number 12 of 464. After the initial aging of however long it was, it is going to be finished in Oloroso casks. And as the independent bottler, it is stating that it is distilled, matured, and bottled in Scotland. 700 milliliter bottle, and I ended up paying $185.99 at Trevor's Liquor. Preston is a guy that works there. We kind of were talking a little bit about this bottle. We cracked it open at the store, took a couple of sips of it. It impressed me enough. So I'm gonna go ahead and do a review. Like always, pour it, nose it, taste it, talk about Blackadder a little bit, and then add some water to it. And then if you stick around until the very end, I'm gonna give it a score. Even before I get it up to my nose, I got that sweet malt going on, along with some peat as well. And I don't necessarily know if this is a gimmick or not, but the whole embers idea, on the very bottom of this bottle, we've got a whole bunch of char. It looks like just little pieces of char from the barrel. Obviously the non-chill filtration, I think, keeps that in there, but I don't know how they get the char in there. So I don't know if they dump the barrel and then they have extra pieces and then they throw it into each of the bottle, or if this is just all natural from the dumping and bottling process, and each bottle is going to vary with the amount of embers they have in there. I have no idea. If you know, let me know in the comments down below. Smells peaty, smells malty, smells pretty sweet. Let's go ahead and get it on the nose. Yeah, peaty and salty. A lot of times I do get a grilled note, a grilled peach or a grilled pineapple that's coming through as well. There's some vanilla, and there's an overall sweetness that is slightly, I'm talking about very, very slightly above the overall peat note. And of course, because of the char or the embers that are in here, I am getting or picking up some burnt wood, which is different than peat. All right, let's go ahead and get it on the palate. Definitely on that sip, I inhale a whole bunch of char. It hits the front of the palate pretty sweet, turns a little bit tannic and bitter in the mid palate. All of those vanilla, grilled pineapple, and peaty notes, once it gets to the back of the palate, start to bloom. My mouth is watering like crazy right now. It packs a pretty good punch with the, 59.2% ABV. Get a good warmth in the chest. Overall, on that first sip, it is good. I like this quite a bit. As it's sitting around a little bit, there is a sugar, like a hard candy sugar note that's coming through, so that's a little bit of a sweetness that is also adding to the grilled fruit, the pineapple, and when I say pineapple and peaches, like grilled peaches, grilled pineapple, and then a hard candy sweetness. And of course, it is a single malt Scotch, so I do end up getting some malt notes as well. Yeah, overall, that very first sip was pretty pleasant. I really like that quite a bit. So let me go ahead and get a second sip. Let me concentrate a little bit more on some of the notes that might be there. There's a spice that's there, but I can't really pinpoint exactly what it is. Let me get that second sip, explore it a little bit more, add some water, and then move on to the information about Blackadder. Cheers, everybody. All right, second sip. There is a salty note that is now hitting first. Then the embers or the ashy note, barrel tannin, barrel bitterness, is reaching right to that point, but it doesn't go over the top where it starts to be drying or too bitter. Further back, the peated notes get there. And like I had just mentioned, it does taste a little bit like a burnt log or a campfire. I wouldn't say that this is Band-Aid or iodine or smoked meat savory side. It's right in that center of a campfire. And then along with the barrel char, that burnt note is there, which I think is adding to the tannin on the side of my tongue. The grilled pineapple, the peach, the vanilla, all of that is still there. And now from the arrival to the mid palate to the finish, that salt note doesn't diminish. All right, it did take some pretty good sips here. So let me go ahead and add just a drop or two of water and then talk a little bit about Blackadder. And just like always, I'm not a professional at this. This is something that Preston sent over from Trevor's on like a little media card. If you have any additional information, it's always welcomed. Leave some comments down below so people have an idea a little bit more about what Blackadder is all about. Like I mentioned earlier, Blackadder is an independent bottler and it was established in 1995. So I'm not sure about the pronunciation of the last name, but it looks like Robin, Tucek. Tuke? If I'm pronouncing that wrong, let me know in the comments. Also, his daughter Hannah and son Michael all own the business. And again, I'm always fascinated on where brands actually get their name. Blackadder apparently was this rebellious 17th century preacher that was preaching against or for the evils of alcohol use. So I think he was actually preaching against the use of alcohol. And other than that, based on the information that I got, there's not a whole lot to say about this. All right, now that the water has a little bit of time to do its thing, let's go ahead and get it one more time on the nose, taste it, and then give this thing a score. And if you know any other information about Robin, Hannah, and Michael, let me know in the comments down below. If they're still involved in the distillery, if it's still family owned. I think Hannah mentioned in this press release or in this little blurb that she's committed to having this be a family owned business. All right, with that, a little bit of water, there is a lot of caramel coming out of this. Salted caramel. The grilled peach and pineapple note has now taken a back seat to that salted caramel. Wow, that's amazing how that water just a little bit of water changed it that much. There's still that hard candy sweetness. The vanilla is there. That ashy note is there. Yeah, I don't know if I like this more with the water or not. They're both good, but good in different ways. All right, let's go ahead and get this thing on the palate. All right, salted caramel. That's wild. That is absolutely wild. Smoky campfire log, caramel, vanilla, malt. That tannin now has subdued a little bit. It does get a little bit drying at the back of the palate. The ABV still elevates it enough to where it carries on a little bit of a longer finish. Yeah, I'm torn here on whether I like this with or without water more. And I guess I don't have to like one more than the other. That just kind of gives you a little bit more of variety on how you can drink your whiskey. All right, I think I know enough to give this a score. So if you're new here, I rate everything out of 5 stars. Based on the versatility that this offers with and without water, all those char, grilled pineapple, grilled peach, the salted caramel, the smoky peat note with a campfire log without it being iodine and Band-Aid or medicinal, the vanilla, the char, and even with, the little gimmicky thing with all of these embers that are in here. I'm liking this based on the proof and what it's offering. I'm going to put this at 3.95. I like it quite a bit. If you've had any Blackadder, let me know in the comments down below which offering you have had. I know that over the course of a couple of years, they've had multiple releases. I've never seen it in my area until just recently. Again, it was intriguing enough for me to kind of pick this up because I've never seen, the amount of char from barrels in a bottle before. I'm going to be very interested to see how that influences the taste as I work my way through the bottle. I'm wondering by the time I get down to the bottom if that char or if those embers that are in there are going to add more bitterness to the bottle the longer that it sits, or if I'm drinking this, if I should be shaking it up and getting rid of some of those embers or the barrel char in there as I go. I have no idea. When we poured this at Trevor's with Preston, we looked at each other like, do we pour it with the char in there and drink it? What do we do? And when we did taste it, I ended up getting one of the embers in my mouth, and I gotta tell you, it wasn't very pleasant. So before you pour this, pour it without the char being in there, and then shake it up a little bit, and then maybe pour another little drink with maybe a couple of them in there, and taste them side by side and see what you get. I got, just like it would sound, I got a burnt log char drying bitter note in my mouth. So I don't think that's intended to be that way. But hey, who am I to tell you how to drink your whiskey? Drink it however you want. And if you do drink it both ways, Let me know in the comments down below which way you prefer. That's all I got for you today. So wherever you're at in your journey, I hope you are enjoying it. And until the next time, we'll talk to you later. Cheers, everybody. And I know I didn't have a huge pour at the very beginning, but it's very rare that I ever finish a pour on camera. So that might be telling you something. All right, we'll see everybody Wednesday.